Hi, it's Sherry Kaler, and I'm back with, this is kind of a adjacent to a yoga prop talk. And like my how to set up a chair yoga video that you can find on the channel, I'm going to talk about what about our feet, right? Because this is a question I, over the years of teaching, which is almost 20 years now, and being a yoga therapist, I would hear a lot of people say, I can't do yoga because I can't be barefoot, right? And I'm barefoot right now. In fact, I made a point to set everything up so you could see my feet. And there are definitely times when I suggest being barefoot is necessary. And in my practices that I teach, those are two times. One is I have the feel your feet meditation. And it is one of the few times when I say it is best to do the feel your feet meditation barefoot. If being barefoot is contraindicated, do that meditation seated rather than standing, right? So that you can feel your feet without the pressure and pain and the reasons why it is contraindicated for you to walk or do yoga barefoot. The other time that you would want to not have shoes on is when you're doing the practice of self-massage, right? And you are massaging your foot and getting some movement in your foot. Because in that practice, another video you can find on the channel, right? We get our fingers between our toes and we give each toe a little attention. So you wouldn't want to have your shoes on for that one. The rest of the time though, we don't necessarily need to do yoga barefoot. Whether it's chair yoga or yoga where we're going to be doing standing postures, we can have shoes on. Some reasons it's nice to be barefoot, and again, if it's contraindicated, you would do these practices seated, as I am, on a chair, right? And that's just movements to like wiggle your toes, right? You might practice trying to bring down the toes and lift them up one at a time. You saw me lean over, and we try and get to where we can kind of play with that without looking at our feet, right? Scrunching them up, stretching them out, right? Things that are harder to do in shoes. Just the practice of rolling around the outer edges of the feet a little bit. And the reason, always a reminder, when I'm doing those whole leg circles that I call these, I am not trying to get that arch down, right? I'm just going from the inner edge of my heel to the ball of the big toe, right? So never feel like you have to try and mash down until you get that arch to come down. And all of those just little movements, they help reconnect the messaging that is going from here to here and then back and down again. So it improves that proprioception of being able to feel our feet and interpret the information our feet have for us so that we can improve our reaction time. But back to, we don't need to be barefoot, right? So right handy here off screen, of course. And if you watch my practices that are chair yoga, you'll often see I'm wearing these very shoes. And these, the thing that I choose about these shoes that's important, I've got my socks here too. I want to show how flexible, right? These shoes are very lightweight. I only wear these for practicing yoga or doing physical therapy or in the days before the COVID when I would go to a gym. So they're only worn indoors, so they're not water resistant at all. They breathe very easily so my feet don't get hot. They have a little bit of support for the arch because I have pretty high arches. My feet are pretty narrow, so these shoes are narrow. So flexible and breathable and lightweight. Those are the things that you want about a shoe, right? You might want to have socks so your feet don't slip around inside your shoe, lightweight socks that fit comfortably and closely, right? Easy to tie. So all of these things, right, help make our practice a little easier with the right support. And even if it is not contraindicated, you don't have a podiatrist or an orthopedist or, well, any kind of doctor that has said you should not do exercise barefoot or walk barefoot, maybe just right? It hurts when you stand barefoot. It hurts when I ask you to press down firmly through your feet in chair yoga, right? All of those are reasons and if you haven't told a healthcare professional that that's the case with your feet, please do. But you don't have to wait for someone to say you have to wear shoes to exercise to make the decision to get a lightweight pair of sneakers or trainers or whatever you like to call them that fits well and comfortably and lets your feet move enough and get enough information through your feet to support your practice. Many of, particularly the PT exercises, or sometimes when I'm doing yoga balancing poses, because I have a hypermobility disorder, the feet actually help the shoes on my feet add a lot of support for some of the joint instability I have in my feet and ankles even. So don't feel like yoga is not for you because you can't do it barefoot. There's a very few number of times when you really should be barefoot, and all of those can be, and in many cases should be, done seated anyway, so you won't have that pressure that maybe causes pain or neuropathy issues or balance issues or anything at all. Just wear a nice pair of shoes. Thanks so much for joining me for this little talk. If you like this one, remember, please take just a second, click that like button. Consider subscribing to my channel. I semi-regularly, sometimes more than others. I've had a lot of projects around the house happening, so sometimes they're not as frequent as I would like them to be. I am, in addition to being a yoga therapist and artist, I am a person who lives with multiple chronic health conditions. So thanks so much for joining me and understanding me. Subscribe to this channel so you don't miss them, the next installment or practice. And thank you for practicing. Peace, peace, peace. Thank you.